Welcome to Artistic Adventures. Let's get started.
Hi everyone. Today we are going to be talking about face-ups for this Kuu Kuu Harajuku girl music. Now, I had originally thought I would just do one face-up and I'd ask you guys, did you want to do either a look like a Blythe doll or sort of a similar to a Monster High doll? And I got mostly replies to do it as a Blythe doll. I think one person said Monster High. But actually, I did a face up on this doll last weekend that I was going to film and put up, but I had a couple issues. First of all, I'm trying to learn this new software program for editing, and I'm just now getting to where I think I can do the basics, so I wasn't really able to upload that. And then after I started looking back at it, I had this feeling that after I did the doll, she looked like the Corpse Bride. So she just got that face and the round eyes. So I thought, well, why not do something different instead of the same old face ups? You've seen those a million times and you've seen me do them. And the techniques are pretty much always the same, except for how you draw the face. The putting on of the watercolor pencils and the varnish and all that's pretty much the same. So what I wanted to do today is take a little more time and spend less time on the actual techniques, which I've shown you in depth in my face up video series, and show you more about shapes of faces and how they change the look of the doll. So I am going to actually do the first face up with the Blythe doll. And Blythe are known for their round eyes. They were originally produced to mimic the, I'm trying to focus here. What's going on? They were originally made to capitalize on the popularity of those big-eyed dolls her that were being done at the time. You know, there's a movie about that, and that it was actually a woman who was doing it, and her manager was taking credit, and then she finally was revealed as the artist. But anyway, these dolls were made to capitalize on all that, and basically they're very plain in terms of their features. It's just the big eyes. Now this one has some sort of brownish yellow shading on the top of the eyes. She has red cheeks, and their lips are usually a little bit neutral, mostly. You know, she has a little curl of the lips, but it's not like a big grin, so the expression can kind of go either way with these dolls. And I think that's one of the things that I like about them, is they can have a lot of character in different poses because they don't have that just bland smile on their face. So the thing that I'm going to do to make the Kuu Kuu Harajuku doll look like this is, first of all, we're not going to be putting a lot of features in. It's going to be a fairly plain look, and also just focus on making the eyes, pretty round. These eye indentions are more almond shaped, and she also, if you will look, has this little indention here that went with a smile that was painted on her. We're going to not make that so much of a smile. We're going to make that more of just a straight lip to look more like her. The Kuu Kuu Harajuku dolls do not have eyebrows. You can put them on them. There's a lot of people that customize them and add them for more expression, but we're not going to do that. So I just want to walk you through how I would sort of pencil in the look on this doll to make it look that way. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my glasses on because I can't see up close without them. All right. So then we're just going to try to go within the inside of this, cutting off some of these edges that make it look more almond, and try to really make it oval looking. Okay. So that's how I would do that. So I'm cutting off this part of the indention and this part of the indention that give it more of an almond shape. and then just going over here and doing the same thing. I did put the matte medium down to protect the plastic of the face because we're going to just take this right off and do another look. Alright, so we have the round eyes. There is some faint eyebrows left from where I did the first face up. For some reason, I don't know why, that didn't come out all the way when I cleaned the face with acetone, but I'm not going to put this back on right yet because I want it to look Blythe-like. And for the lips, I'm just going to draw in the outline with the lip coming out straight on the side, not corked up like it was in the original Harajuku doll. And I'm just using a dark brown pencil for this. I don't want to use black. I use that later when I'm darkening everything up. And as before I said, I'm using watercolor pencils because that's what works on this surface. Now the other thing about the Blythe dolls is that they have the ability to move the eyes, and they move either to one side or the other or in the center, and you pull the string on the back of their head to make them move. And I really like those eyes that are going to the side, so I feel that's more indicative of how they look. They also have fairly large pupils, and the eyes change colors as you pull the string. So those are things that we would incorporate. We're going to make the iris pretty large, and we're going to make it cut over to the side. And I'm just drawing a round circle. You see that? And then the pupils are also pretty large, so I'll go ahead and do the circle in there. Okay, so there's the eye cut to the side. Doing the other iris with the pupil in the center. Okay, so there's our outline of how we would want this to look. Now the dolls do have lashes on the eyes, so what I would probably do if I wanted this to stay as a Blythe style doll is I would put fake lashes on, because that's how it would look the most like this doll. But what I'm going to do now is go off camera and do the coloring to save time, because I want to do the 3 different looks in this video. You know how I do that with the watercolor pencils and the pastels. And then I'll come back and show you the finished look. Alright, so hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so we finished doing the face up on this doll to make it look like the Blythe, and here's what we ended up with. And it's, like I said, a fairly plain look because we're not putting in a lot of features the Blythe dolls don't have. The things that she does have is the big round eyes, the big pupils, and the eyes with the marks going out from the pupil to the corner, to the edge of the iris. So that's how I put the color on. Then I put some brown and yellow shading up here with pastels, some red pastels in the mouth, and I made the line come straight out instead of curling up. And I did put a little color in the nostrils, just, you know, because I thought they looked plain. The difference between this doll's face and the regular Blythe is the eyes are a little bit further apart on this doll. But otherwise, you know, I think you can get a Blythe-like look for sure. So now we're going to go off camera. I'm going to clean all this off, reset her face with matte medium, and I'm going to come back and show you how to do a look with a lidded eye, because that's great for these dolls that have bigger eyes. Alright, so hang tight for the next section. Okay, so we're going to move into the next section now. I've cleaned the face and prepped it again with matte medium, And this time we're going to do just a hooded eye look. This could be any kind of doll, really more of a modern look. So when they have these huge eye sockets and you make that the whole eye, it makes it like an eye popping out, like a look of surprise, or it could be terror, anything where your eyes go wide open. Generally, you do have somewhat of a hood, but I think adding a little bit more hooded look gives a doll some real character. So what you're going to do is go from corner to corner with a little bit of an arch in the eye. And you're about 3/4 of the way up on the doll, okay? So that means the crease of the eyelid will be here. And the pupil will be here. And you're only going to see a portion of the pupil. This is going to be the bottom of the eye. So you're only going to see a portion of the iris and pupil because of the hooding. So we're going to draw that in like that so that this part of the iris and pupil is not visible. And then you want to place the pupil in the middle of where that would be if you saw the whole circle of the iris. Okay, I think you can already tell that's a really different look than the Blythe look because of the change in the eye shape. So let's do the same thing over on this side. We're going to start at this corner, make our arch over to the other corner. Like that. Draw in the upper eye, or the crease in the eyelid, and then the bottom of the eye. You can do your little tear ducts on this doll, on this shape. Okay, like that. And then we'll go ahead and draw in the iris. And the pupil. You know, this could have a lazy look, or it could have a I've got something hidden look. Lots of things you could do with this type of an expression on a doll. Depends on how you do everything. Okay. So we're still going to make the lips be sort of neutral, coming out straight to the side as opposed to curving up. We'll just draw in the outline for those. And I'll come back in and put color in later. Put a little dark line for the crease. Okay, and then I'm going to put eyebrows on this doll, and kind of want to put this same shape that I had in before, which is with the eyebrow raised near the nose and going down near the sides, and this can give the look a little bit of surprise or quizzicalness. With the half hooded lid, I think it almost gives the doll sort of a confident, like, yeah, I'm all that look. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, and this doll's going to have 2 creases. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and color this in off camera as we did before and show you the final look. Stay tuned. Alright, ready to reveal the hooded eye look. And this is the completed doll. And I'll show you just a few things different than the previous doll. Of course, we did the hooded eye. The other doll, we didn't do a lot of shading or contouring because the Blythe face is pretty plain and flat. So on this doll, I did add some brown around the nose and under the chin, some blue shadow here. This pretty much will draw the eyes closer together, whereas on the other doll they looked, really far apart. I added some reddish brown under the eyes, in the creases, some blue shading here, pink shading here, some brown over the eye, and a little pink in the tear duct. And I did use some darker brown here and then more yellow color here to give the eyes a more gradient look. And did, for some reason, felt she needed a beauty mark. I don't know why. She just told me she did. So anyway, there's the hooded eye look. And I think, to me, this turned out more like almost like a Bratz doll, maybe. Maybe not quite that saucy, but definitely a face of character that has a story to tell, and that's what I really love in a doll. All right, so after this, I'm going to remove this face and move on to what I really wanted to do now, is to make this doll look like the Corpse Bride, because she really has the face for it. And that'll be something really different to do. All right, so hang tight. Coming up next, the Corpse Bride look. Okay, welcome back. We're ready to start the third face in this series, and I wanted to show you a picture of, oh, why is that on? Okay, a picture of the Corpse Bride, because I don't know why, when I did the first Blythe look, this reminded me of the Corpse Bride, and I love that movie. Anything Tim Burton, I just think is hilarious. But anyway, so I want to try to do this face, and if it works out okay, I may actually finish the doll to be the Corpse Bride, which would kind of be interesting. This doll or character's face is a little more oval this way, and the Harajuku doll is more wide. Okay, so we're gonna have to do a little contouring to work on that. I think it might work. So anyway, we're going to be doing this Corpse Bride look, and I'm going to start by trying to give her that bluish white tint. So what I started with is the pastel colors that I think will work, and I started with some light blue and white, and I scraped a good bit of the powder off so I can have powder to work with, and I'm going to mix those two together to get that sort of ghastly pallor look and see if I can change the color of her face a little bit. Alright, so that's the first part of how we're going to do this doll, and then we'll do some drawing in of the features. Okay, so I think we got that focused nicely. Alright, so I'm going to use a makeup brush for this because it's soft and it's wide and fluffy, and it doesn't make streaks like a paintbrush would if you're putting something all over like powder. So I'm just going to be mixing the two colors, the blue and the white, and see if we can get this to work. We're just going to put it everywhere except on the eyes. I'm going to try not to get it in the eyes. And we're going to see if we can make her skin a little bit more bluish white than tan, so she looks a little bit dead. And I'm just putting plenty of this on and trying to kind of rub it into the matte medium that I had placed on it. I think I've told you this so many times, I use an airbrush with the matte medium, and there's plenty of my face ups and also my face up tutorial to talk more about the prepping, but that's what gives you the ability to change the face without having the colors bleed into the plastic. So that way you can, change the face of these dolls as many times as the plastic holds up. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of that pallor That looks like it's working pretty good. I'm just going to keep rubbing some of this in. And we can even add more, I guess, as we go along. And she's not quite as tan as she was before, which is great. Only thing about making this doll for real is one of her arms is actually a skeleton arm. It's like, you know, the bone. I don't really know how I guess I could do that, but I just not sure I want to pull the doll apart. You know, the other doll that would be good with this is the Laguna doll, the Monster High Laguna doll, because she already has that sort of pale blue skin, and her face is, I don't know, it's maybe wider than the way the doll looks in real life, or the character. Maybe if this doesn't work out, I will do a Laguna doll. Tell me if you'd like to see that in the comments below, a finished Corpse Bride doll. That might be interesting. And then if this one doesn't work out the way I want, I know I think I have a Laguna doll, used doll that I could use and figure out a way to make a skeleton arm for her. Okay, so we've got that all put on. And now I'm just going to take some white with another brush that's not quite as big and go onto her eyes. They're really, really white. I may have to put paint on this. I'm not sure. We'll see how white we can get it with the pastels. Goes on pretty good. I think the skin of this doll accepts the matte medium pretty well. I didn't have too much trouble getting the color on with the other faces that I did. Alright, so I'm going to kind of blow that off there. Alright, so she's a little bit blue. A little bit. I might just try to put a little bit of just the plain blue on and see how that looks. Over the whitish blue. You know, you're really starting to rot when you turn blue, right? If you haven't seen that movie, it's pretty cute. Pretty cute. If you like that sort of humor. I really do like it. I like Tim Burton. Okay. So now we're ready to draw the face. And if you remember, one of the biggest things is those big wide open eyes with just the tiny dot in it. There's really no iris. So let's start with our brown pencil, and then we're just gonna pencil in how we want this to look. And the shape of the eyes is really similar. That's why I thought this would look more like her than the Blythe doll. And she's not got completely round eyes, but they're kind of round near the nose, and then over near the side they kind of come to a point at the crease, so like that. Alright, and she actually has a lidded area that looks very round looking, like that. So we'll put that in. Alright, and her lips do have a little curl at the sides. They're very full, so we'll give her some full lips, and they come down and then kind of curl up like that. And the bottom lip is very full. I think the most distinctive part is the eyes, because they have no colored iris. They're just white. Alright, so that's going to be the outline of the lip. And I'm going to go over here and draw in this eye, kind of rounded in the corner here, and then it kind of comes down to a point there. And then we'll add in the hooded part that's rounded. Whoop! To get rid of that in a minute. Okay, so that's the basic outline. Then she has these kind of interesting eyebrows that go they're close to the eye here, and then they come over, and then they go up like that. So we'll try to make that match over on this side. Okay. And she's got a lot of blue, different colored blue shading. So that's what we'll be mostly working with. She does have the pink lips. It's mostly black, blue, white, and pink are the colors we're going to work with. Alright, so I'm going to go off camera and try to work on coloring this face. This is the drawing at this point, and see how it turns out. So stay tuned. Be back in a minute. Okay, we're back with our Corpse Bride final look. So this is what we came up with. It does matter, I think, that her face is so wide. It doesn't exactly have the same look because we can't really get those sunken in cheek looks. But the things that I did was, of course, all the features are very dark on the original character, so painting them is, you know, probably a better way to go. I did end up painting the whites of the eye, and I painted the black dot, and I painted the lips. Everything else is watercolor pencil or pastels. I put some pastels and watercolor pencils up here to shade the dark blue of the eye, and under the eye some dark blue. I used a watercolor pencil down there, and then a watercolor pencil to make the little lashes around the eye. I used the watercolor pencil up here, and then I used a light blue watercolor pencil to shade here to try to make this not look so wide. And also, if you'll notice, her nose is really, really pointed and has these slitted nostrils as opposed to round nostrils, so I did put those in. And then the little quirk at the corner of the face to give it a little bit of a, I don't know, she looks like worried and hopeful at the same time. That's kind of how I look at her, at the expression. So I think, you know, the eyes are the biggest part because they really stand out on the original character too. So if I did this on the Laguna doll, I think it would look better because her face is not quite as wide. This doll is just a little too wide. But I think with the rounded eyes, it does certainly have the option to go that way if you have this doll and want to do that. So those are the 3 looks that I wanted to show you with this music doll. And you know, there's plenty more, as many as you can think of expressions, and go back to the tutorial that I did where I talked about how shapes of eyes and eyebrows and lips and things change expression to get more information on that. But that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks, and bye.